And as I'm bouncing around, I start to feel the equations, like they're becoming a part of me. And I vaguely sense the presence of another entity close by. I couldn't see it, but I knew that it was feminine. And eventually it started to feel like I was getting these kind of padded jackhammer, like a really gentle padded jackhammer was chipping away at my soul. And at the same time, she was rerouting pathways in my soul. And it felt like some of the equations weren't necessary and I needed surgery in order to correct it. But at the same time, I had a choice. There wasn't any auditory communication, but at the same time, I knew that she was only chipping away and transforming the areas that I agreed with. It felt like a sophisticated dance, and every time she chipped something away, I gained new knowledge of concepts that go way beyond images or words. And the surgery was completely in tune with my own needs. And like with any psychedelic, the closer you get to the peak, the more information you get. And during the come down, you start to lose that information and you're left with just impressions and feelings. And the same thing happened here. And as I was coming down, I knew that I wouldn't remember the information that I was shown, but somehow it was now ingrained in my soul. The come down is really gentle, and I start to feel my consciousness float back into my body. And this is part of the trip where I would usually open my eyes and start to process what was going on, but there was more for me to see. The trip wasn't over yet. And this was the longest I had ever tripped on DMT before, but the entity still had more to show me. And I could feel her inside of me, and there was this dance of control and knowledge that kept going as she was moving my body around in different positions. And it felt like different positions produced different streams of information. And this kind of kept on going on until eventually my body felt like it clicked into place, and immediately I was transported to Japan. I saw a woman who had just been physically abused by her husband, and she was lying in the exact same position that I was, except she was emotionally dead inside. I instinctively knew that this was me, but for another life. But what felt odd was that this didn't feel like it was in the past. It was modern day Japan. And it started to feel like time was getting smushed together because my past lives were still being played out. And then the entity communicated with me that if I emotionally charged every cell in my body and chose something to think about, it would happen. Like if I wanted to visit this woman in Japan, all I had to do was get back in that same position, focus on every cell in my body, kind of charge it up, and then I would be transported back to this time. And eventually I got the sense to open my eyes, but I was still tripping, and it had already been about 15 minutes. And because I was still tripping, I actually thought that I had died. But I felt such bliss that I was okay with dying. And it's hard to describe because I'm not suicidal or interested in dying soon, but it felt like if this is what dying was like, then I was okay with it. Then I closed my eyes and I saw this vibrant, colorful pool kind of pulsing out. And this lasted for about another minute until eventually it started to fade away. And I realized that I was still alive. So this is the end of the path. Click on the intro link to start over or click on the outro link to finish up.